Greetings and welcome to another excellent, and I mean really excellent, World of Tanks video. Now, the game I'm going to show you is the foundation upon which the excellence of this video is based. I was doing this one time previously, and I realized I was turning into Ben Stein, who was the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller. So I thought I'm going to redo this and we're going to be more exciting. So what I'm going to talk to you about here in advance of the game is something that is referred to by all kinds of sports guys or analysts or whatever, and that is winning. And the thing about winning is that there are rules to win, and these rules are observed in all kinds of different sporting events or other games. Now, one of the easiest ones to understand with a real world sport lesson that applies to tanks is baseball. In baseball, the pitcher is able to throw the ball wherever he basically needs to throw it. That's what makes him a pitcher and not just a thrower. The pitcher throws the ball with accuracy just like you shoot your gun. Well, I want to hit the guy in his captain's hatch, all right? That's a baseball pitcher mentality. So these are things to learn how to win. You have to master certain skills. In this game, the baseball pitcher skill would be really good to go, I can do extra damage by hitting this guy in the track or in the captain's hatch, for example, or any other place where you know there's a weakness that can be exploited. This is the core of the learning how to win mentality. And this is what separates players of all levels. The more skills you have in knowing how to win will give you better results. Now, other sports that will show us these lessons that we need, for example, when you have two tanks versus one. Now, we're going to use this in its most basic form. We're going to say, well, you're looking here at a Citadel Tiger. All right, it's a tier 6 heavy tank. We're going to assume for the discussion purposes that whenever I talk about tanks versus tanks, we're talking about the exact same tank fighting each other in perfect health. Obviously, when you're not in perfect health, that's variables that come in. But we're not talking about that for educational purposes here. So, one of the great lessons that you learn in sports, it's best taught in basketball, and that is 2 versus 1. So in basketball, when you have 2 versus 1, any basketball coach can tell you, you get your players far apart where each of them can be a threat if they have the ball. You don't want to have your two players coming down together where one defender can easily defend the shot by either player if they're side by side. That would be terrible. You want to spread the floor is what they call it. So we want to spread the floor. We want to put our threatening players, and the threat is to score in basketball, so that if player A has the ball and the defender goes to stop A can pass to B, and B can just score easily. So in tanks, the same thing occurs. 2 versus 1. You don't attack 2 versus 1 in a single file because only one gun could shoot the enemy or the single player. You want to spread the floor. Get your tanks spaced where each tank's gun can fire on the target. And what will happen is a basic, you firing 2 shots every time this guy's firing 1, since we're all using perfect condition Citadel Tigers. That is the basics of 2 versus 1, and you all understand that implicitly. but this lesson is taught to you from other sports if you don't know it. And that's the thing. We want to look at these different occurrences or scenarios that will occur in the game repeatedly. And we want to master each of these kind of things because this confers skill to the player. And the more skill your players have, the higher the chances you have to win. Like I said, under perfect conditions. Laboratory conditions is what we're looking at in this specific version. We're not talking about damaged guys. Then that just throws in easier to understand scenarios. In this game, you're going to see a bunch of examples of things I'm going to tell you, and that's why this is such an unbelievably great game. It's a good game. Just the game result for my team was fantastic. But the underlying greatness of this game is that this shows things that need to be seen, and when you have it in such a package, it's just unbelievable. We were playing last night, obviously, because that was when this game was played, and I talked about it briefly to the platoon about you got to know how to win, and you got to know what to do and what not to do. When you're winning a game, for example, you are up 1, plus or minus 1 is what I call it. So, for example, say you're up 8-7. The game is still in doubt. Being plus 1 or minus 1, 8-7 or 7-8, either side can still win. The goal for the winning team, if you're plus 1, is to get that number down, because 8 versus 7 is not as big of an advantage as 2 versus 1. 2 versus 1, as I mentioned from the basketball example, it's cash all day long. We're going to cash 2 versus 1, with perfect tanks. The 2 are going to beat the 1 every time. If you're properly skilled, that is. Okay, we want to remove the variables that would interrupt this victory. So when you're 8 versus 7 or 7 versus 8, you got to be careful. You've got to execute your skills. You want to get good matchups. Engagement is key. You want to take advantageous engagements and not play for disadvantageous engagements where you're gambling. This isn't slot machines, okay? I don't play slot machine tanks. You're going to learn over time, it's not a good idea to attack a guy cresting the hill one-on-one because he's sitting there on flat ground waiting for the idiot to crest the hill. The idiot crests the hill, and his gun cannot shoot the guy who's on the flat ground. And as he crests the hill, he exposes himself to 1, 2, maybe 3 shots. Pretty much he can be destroyed or critically injured before he even gets off 1 shot. So there's things you don't want to do under normal circumstances. Now, conversely, when you're losing, that's the time that you may have to take chances, because if you're down 2 or 3 tanks, you're in bad shape. So at that point, you're like, maybe I'll have to take the chance. You see a chance where it could work, but it's a low percentage. Well, you're already losing badly, so you have to weigh the opportunity in a situation. But when you're winning, you don't want to gamble. You're already winning. What are you going to do? Win more? And it's real simple. You can either win the game, end in a draw, or lose the game. You're already winning the game. What are you gambling to do? Win it faster? That's a huge mistake. Anyone who can tell you that they've played, if you don't know this, I'm a chess master. And I played chess tournaments, won a lot of chess tournaments. In chess tournaments, it doesn't matter how fast you win the game. When you're playing your game in a tournament and you're done, the people that you know will say, hey, how did your game go? I won. I'm going to tell you this as a tournament-winning chess player for money. I've never heard a single guy ever ask myself or any other good players, well, how fast did you win? We don't care. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters after the fact as a, curiosity. But when you're in the business of winning the tournament, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters a little bit. But no one ever asks you, well, how fast did you win? Because it doesn't really matter. The key is you show up. You have to win the tournament. You have to win games, okay? And the games take as long as they take. You play a strong player who's very difficult to beat and beat him, it might take 3 or 4 or 5 hours. I'm literally not joking. But, like in tanks, if a guy makes a mistake, falls off a cliff and dies, boom, that could be 5 minutes. It does happen. Now, there's no cliffs in chess, but the same kind of scenario, a guy makes a mistake, whoops, he can be done in 5 or 10 moves. It's possible. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. So this is the thing. You need to understand the scenario about winning. If you're winning and it's going to take you 5 minutes to win or 10 minutes to win, who cares? You're there to win and do whatever it takes to reasonably win the game. Too many times I see the mistakes, and you've seen it a million times yourself. There's a bunch of you, and there's one enemy left. And then every idiot is trying to hunt this guy down. Even the fat, slow guys are trying to get in on this. I'm like, moron. Then you'll see the smart guy. There's one guy who's like, you know what? He goes and sits on the flag. It's like, okay, this guy goes, sits on the enemy flag. Now it's a minute and a half. You've got a minute and a half to get this guy or it's game over. So one of these scenarios, everybody chasing the one guy or the guy who sits on the base, forcing the clock to take over if they fail to kill this guy. One of these situations is smarter than the other. If you know what it is, great. If you don't know, ask somebody, because I'm not going to tell you here. I'm going to assume that you have knowledge or the capabilities to get the information that you need. So you've got to know what to do under the situation when it occurs. And it happened in this game big time. But I'm trying to cover the stuff that needs to be covered without taking forever. Because I'm getting a feeling that it's going a little long. But I think that covers most of the stuff. So I'll remember stuff during the game. So let's go to the game. But first, please leave a like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That'll help me the most. And it's absolutely free. So now we're going to go to the game action. And believe me, this is some good stuff. Welcome to Arctic Region. To me, this is a little lesser played map. So it's kind of funny because what we were really doing is that Armored Wraith and I were doing this. He's working on his contract and he needs to get assist damage equal to his hit points. And he got to this map. He's like, dude, I don't know how to get assist damage on this map. I'm like, that's a good point because I can't really say that I could force this myself because it's just a goofy map in that regard. but it was funny. The humorous part is, as this game is going and the things that I did, I ended up getting the assist damage he needed. It was hilarious. Alright, I missed my chances here because you get shots down there. But as you can see, I blew it. But this artillery guy's a genius. I don't know why he's across the gap. Artillery doesn't belong there at all. You can see on the board, he's over there at like on the borderline of Fox and Gulf 4. You put snipers there, you don't put artillery. Artillery can hit literally from just about anywhere. So this guy must not be a very experienced artillery man. So this is a great spot. There he is again. Look at the genius. Now I can't shoot him, but an artillery could shoot him if he was paying attention. Now here we are, down 2 already. Now I'm up here for opportunity shots. An armored wraith is over there in the group of 3 mediums. But now we've taken the lead. Up now we're back to even. Again, those guys I don't think are gettable by me. They're behind the whatever. The ridge or whatever is down there. But I was getting good opportunity shots over here, so I took those. And now I see we have an artillery and a tank destroyer down there. Hotel 8 and 9. And our artillery got killed because he was out of position down there. I have no idea what these guys are doing. We're hanging in there 8 to 8. That's the primary goal. Look at this guy. I drilled him again. Spoiler alert, I'm going to get him. But not there. 6 on 6. We're just trying to keep even, you know, as the lesser skilled or less lucky players die off. It's going to leave your higher skilled players in general. At least that's the theory. But sometimes it doesn't work that way. But right now for my team it's working that way. Now we're 2 guys down. Great. So me and Armored Wraith, and then a droid, and then the Stug on my team. Now that Stug guy is pretty awesome. And I saw these guys, I'm like, no sorry Bob. 3 versus 6. This is where I'm going to give you an example of baseball pitcher. Artillery's hooting me. Those freaks. Now I was going to go shoot this guy. But this guy took off. And I swear I have no idea that's what he had done. I had tried shooting him in his cockpit, but I didn't really show it on screen, so that was a boo-boo. That was the baseball pitcher part. I hit him, but I wasn't able to do damage, so it was like I stopped doing that because his turret has got a rounded top. It was really annoying. I didn't know at this point that he had hauled, and I mean left, gone. I thought there's guys who might be down there in the depression, or waiting for me around the rocks here. So that's why I'm being very careful, because it's 3 versus 5, which is good. It was 3 versus 6. Oh, the tank destroyer jerk. Let's see, what do I have? Yeah, he took his shot and was very smart and backed away. That guy did a really good job. And that's another thing. When you're playing against players, you have to be aware that they're doing well or not so well. And there's nothing wrong with me turning tail because that guy didn't present a good target, and it was very unclear what was going on there. So I'm leaving. I'm not going where it's unclear. I cannot afford to take risks. I'm down one guy, which is good. That guy brought it back. Yeah, Armored Wraith got killed. So it's me, the robot, and the Stug. The next guy to go down is the robot. I'm just going to let you know. There's the genius. Got him. That was the guy that was in the sniper perch. 3 different shots, and I got him. So now, I have brought this game 3-on-3. And I'm feeling pretty good. Now I know that Tank Destroyer guy is a tier 5, and he's got about 350 or 360 health. The artillery is artillery, he's easy money. And there goes the robot, he's dead. The robot was also easy money because he's stupid. So now it's me. I gave signals to the Tank Destroyer that I was headed to the base, like here. I am slowish, obviously. Not terribly slow, but slowish. And he was doing a terrific job. So he knows where I'm going. And then look, here's that genius Skoda. Well, that's why he ran. He was almost dead. One shot. Goodbye. Citadel Tiger is a terrific tank. Now this jerkweed is flanked me way out there trying to shoot me. But I'm not too worried about him because I'm going along a path that's going to be advantageous for this, small, heavy tank. Remember, this is a tier 6 Tiger, not a tier 7. The tier 7s have way more hit points. Took a shot. Yeah, I missed him. Not too worried about it. There we go again. Missed that one. Didn't lead him enough. And now he's got enough protection, crud. That jerk, he hit me again. What a freak. I'm going to kill you now. Your artillery. Okay, see, I'm using the rock that the Tank Destroyer is hiding behind as my own personal blocker for him. It forces him out into the open so he doesn't get clean shots at me. Hey, buddy. That guy's very good. He's mobile. And unfortunately, our Stug got killed. But now I've got him. Because both of those are substantially inferior individually to my Tiger. And that's the key. All right. That was pretty darn terrific. Look, that robot was number 3 overall. It's crazy. Okay, this is end of game screen. Man, that was a wild game. They started out 2 ahead of us. We got down. We were never ahead. More than 1, I think. I could be remembering it incorrectly, but we weren't ahead for any length of time. We were constantly fighting back. But that's part of the skill thing I was explaining, that you've got to be able to handle these situations. And when I got to 3-on-3, I thought, man, we're in good shape here. Because it was the 3 best players on my team at the time. Which, that robot, he's still a robot, but hey, that guy finished number 3 overall. caught a break on that one. So we'd have been better off if we would have had Armored Wraith instead of that robot. But things happen. Good players get killed sometimes. That's just the way it goes. But 4 kills, pretty tremendous. Almost 2,000 damage, 740 assistance. That would have gotten him his requirement for his contract. Oh well, it was pretty funny. Let me see, medals. Actually, I got a good medal here. Not really super great, but it's a good one. It's the Pascucci's medal, and that's for killing 2 artilleries in a game. Surprisingly, I only have like 18 of those. I would have thought I would have had more, but well, what are you going to do? So duelist, killed 2 guys that damaged you, did more damage than your hit points, knocked out modules or crew members. Yeah, kill 4 or 5 guys for the fighter ribbon. The next higher ribbon is the Top Gun for 6. Master Gunner, 5 armor penetrating hits. Thank you, Tiger Tank Gun, in a row. And first class mastery. I was like, okay, that was good. I guess that master's badge is well over 2,000. Duh. So here, Armored Wraith did well. 5th place overall. 972 damage. We'll take it. Because it was funny because this is a lesser played map, and he was like, man, I don't know where to go really on this map. I'm like, well, just do your regular business. A good player is a good player. You got to go with your spidey senses. Okay, do what you do. Okay, so like I said, when we got to 3 versus 3, I thought the odds are super high that we're going to win this, because this is one of the skill levels you're trying to achieve, is the not just the confidence, because you can have fake confidence. It's real confidence that matters. But the confidence in that objectively I felt good that we would be winning, and then it got better for us because they had artillery, an inferior to my tank destroyer, but the guy played it well. And the 3rd tank was the Skoda, who was, I didn't know he was that damaged, but there's no Skoda that's better than a Tiger. Sorry. So I'm thinking Tiger better than Skoda, better than artillery, better than that tank destroyer. The Stug guy was about the same as the enemy tank destroyer, so they're like, we're going to call them even. But the artillery is inferior, but our robot is also inferior, so those were roughly, close. And so the advantage represented in 3 versus 3 was my Tiger tank is better than a full Skoda. And the fact that he was super damaged meant that 3 versus 3, it was almost in the bag. That is where the variables come in, because the matchups we got to a point where 3 versus 3 and the matchups were in my favor because my Tiger was the best tank of all the 6 tanks. Even slightly damaged, I was superior to every other tank. And that's part of the skill, is maintaining your superior quality tank in a better condition than the other guys on the map to give you the end game advantage. 3 versus 3. It was almost unfair in my favor, because when that Skoda popped up, I one-shotted him, and I had no idea he was that near death. But like I said, when he was on that ramp and I went after him, he's way faster than me, and he just ran away, which was in a damaged condition. That was a very smart move. Those guys played well. That was a very good game from both sides. You had lots of players on both sides making, good plays, making kills. That's how you got to 3 versus 3. They got some streaks, we got some streaks. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm referring to when you're trying to learn to improve your winning percentage. It's not just a number. Oh, I win 52.3% of the time. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's how you get that number that means something, because there are things you can actively do, like I've mentioned in this video, that will help you improve your overall results. And now it won't be instantaneous, but just going over this, and I would recommend going over the game section again to see and try to learn as much as you can based upon what we could see. That would help. But this was a terrific example of how good the Citadel Tiger is. I mean, I couldn't even think of a better game that I have had to showcase. Well, Citadel Tiger is for sale. Here, I think you should buy one. Everyone who watches this video should come away going, if I don't have that Citadel Tiger, I think I need to get one of those. Now, the Tiger 217 is almost identical. It's just like paint job difference. I think that's correct. There might be some minuscule difference. Another example of this are those Panthers, like the Britannia Panther, the Poodle Panther, and then there's the Wojtek Panther. Those tanks are not all identically the same. They're all very close. So if you have one tomato, you're okay. I got the Britannia Panther from a card, and I also got the Poodle Panther from a card. They're slightly different. But if you have one, you don't need the others. If it shows up in a card, like I got it, fine, you take it. But I'm not actively seeking it out, because if you have one, they're all good. So if you have one of them, you're fine. Now, I'm a Tiger guy, just like Crowbar, who you've seen in my videos with his comments. He's a Sherman guy. I'm a Sherman guy a little bit. He's a real Sherman guy. He has a Sherman Fury, and that tank is awesome. I don't have that. Oh, well. I got Tigers. So, where he's a Sherman guy, I'm a Tiger guy. Although I love Shermans too. But he's really hardcore Sherman, and man, he knows his Sherman tanks. So, do whatever floats your boat. I have the Citadel Tiger, the 217, which is essentially the twin brother of the Citadel Tiger, but Africa core colors. I also have the Tiger 131, which is a tier preferential Tiger, which is awesome. Means that it doesn't face higher than tier 8s. I also have the Tiger Hammer, which was the first Tiger I ever got, and it's awesome. So those are my 4 Tiger tanks. Actually, I got one more. In a card, I got the Japanese heavy tank number 6, which is a green Tiger tank. Basically the same as this. It just doesn't look cool because it's green. It's got that American olive green, and I'm like, that's just wrong. Okay? That tank is just wrong. In fact, it's so wrong, I better show it to you. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, that was good. This is fine. Where is this Japanese dude? Oh, there's that Poodle I was telling you about. Hey. Trying to make me into a liar? Alright, I got you. Sucker. There it is. This is the wrong color for a Tiger tank. I'm sorry. Okay? This is me. I got this in a card. Wasn't trying to get it. It's fine. I have it. No problem. But I wasn't gonna go out and acquire this personally. I mean, it's a Tiger tank in every way. It's just green. That's wrong, man. So, whoops. Here we go. Let me go back. Well, in fact, there we go. If you don't have it, just so you can see this up close. This dude is basically the twin brother of the Citadel. The stats are all the same, blah, blah, blah. So we'll finish off with this image here. It doesn't matter. So that was the thing about this video about winning games. I got to a position where you're 3 versus 3, and I'm thinking I'm a high win percentage odds guy in that tank because it's a legitimately what I call a difference maker tank. It can cash games at the end, and that's what difference maker tanks do. It wasn't a mediocre, tank that's like okay, which there are some that are good tanks, okay, but you're a 3-on-3 and you have a tier 6 Citadel Tiger or a tier 6 217 Tiger. You better be thinking, dude, I'm kicking butt and winning this game because this is a difference maker tank. Tanks that can win games by themselves. I have a difference maker tank, 3-on-3. I figure I'm winning this. And then as I have gone through and made the comparison for you from the different tanks that you saw, it wasn't even close. Because as the last 6 guys, I had the best tank of all of the 6. Of course, it makes a difference if I fail to cash, because that means I either didn't know something, made a mistake, which it happens, okay? So that's the thing. You're trying to gain these skills, and one of the easiest ways to gain skill is to look and anticipate mistakes that could happen and then avoid them. Like when I was going down that ramp, because the Skoda was there before he ran off, and couldn't see that he ran off. I didn't want to go any further down there because there was mistakes to be made. No way, Jose. I said, nope, let me turn around. I'm in a great Tiger tank, but it's great on flat ground. On flat ground, it was an absolute beast. You saw me just shred those guys. But going down that ramp unnecessarily, I'm like, no way, Jose. So I don't know if that sniper repositioned himself. Could he kill me? He probably could. So I'm like, I want to avoid possible mistakes. And that's what I did. That's why I turned around and went back to where I came from, got on the flat ground, and then went around the direction I took where I killed the Skoda, because that ground is good ground for fighting in a Tiger tank. And these are the kind of little tiny skill pieces that add up to victories. So hopefully this has been instructive for you, because there's a lot of good stuff in this game. I thought this was a really instructive game because both teams were playing well. It wasn't just idiot fest, which you've seen before. Good players on both sides were making kills, etc. That's how you ended up with a 3 versus 3. So I guess this is it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Tell your friends so they can see this themselves, and maybe they'll learn something and maybe subscribe as well. So Armored Wraith is stuck, still working on getting his assist damage equal to his hit points. He'll get it. It's just one of those things. This was really why we played this game. Like, let's go play one more before I go to bed. And it's like, okay, we did that. I'm like, dude, what an awesome game. So it was like a terrible game to play when you're going to go to sleep. It's like, because now I'm all charged because I played this awesome game. Oh, well, the price we pay. What can I say? I wasn't trying to rhyme on purpose. So I will see you guys later. Thanks again for watching, and I hope this helps you get better for your own games.